Chapter 29. Keeping Fit and Salesmanship. To keep fit is to maintain excellent health. And excellent health depends on a balanced mind and body, strong physical vitality, and inner harmony, a mental steadiness that nothing can disturb. A great deal of talent is lost to the world through poor health, through failing to stay in condition to give the best that is within us. "I want you," said Philip Armour to one of his employees, "to grow into a man so strong and capable that I will be forced to see that you no longer belong among the small men." If you want to be a salesman so strong and capable that you are out of place among the small men, you must be as physically fit as John L. Sullivan was in his prime. At that time, simply seeing Sullivan step into the ring struck such fear into his opponent that the fight was half won before a punch was thrown. To a smaller man, it seemed almost reckless to challenge a giant with such an impressive physical presence. The famous boxer's appearance contributed as much to his success as his skill in the ring. If you want to succeed, you must enter the arena of life with all the strength you can gather, in excellent health, at your best condition, ready to fight your hardest battle. You can do this and come out victorious if you take care of yourself, if you stay fit. But if you allow constant drains on your energy, your mental strength, your willpower, you will not be ready for the most important fight of your life. You should be as physically prepared for the contest as a prizefighter determined to protect his record. Or, like the Greek hero Hercules, you should be able to win largely through the strength of your reserve power. It was said that Hercules impressed his opponents so strongly with his stored strength that he seldom had to use much force in wrestling. He won as much by the confidence he projected as by the strength he actually used. In other words, if you do not support your natural ability and special training with strong health, you will always be at a disadvantage in life. You must keep yourself fit for your work, always ready to do your best, or you will be handicapped. It is a rule of life that the weakest go to the wall. Physical frailty is an unavoidable handicap. Weakness greatly reduces the chance of achievement. The slow but steady tortoise may defeat the hare in a race. The persistent student may win prizes that a more brilliant rival never achieves. But the tortoise, though slow, is physically sound. Cripple him, and his persistence will not save him. Yes, there have been physically weak men who accomplished remarkable things despite illness or frailty, but they are exceptions. Alexander Pope, known as the gallant cripple of Twickenham, confined in canvas. St. Paul, small in stature and nearly blind, represent men whose great spirits overcame physical weakness. Caesar, Pascal, and Nelson were other examples of indomitable spirit that could not be limited by illness. But generally, the person who succeeds has good health. As a salesman, you carry all your capital with you. You are in business, and your factory and sales department travel with you. Your equipment is mental. If you do not keep it in excellent condition, you show as little sense as a farmer who leaves his valuable machinery outside in all weather to rust in rain and snow. Your skill, expertise, fluency, tact, judgment, understanding of human nature, courage, initiative, resourcefulness, cheerfulness, magnetism, every mental faculty is business capital. Its condition depends entirely on the care you give the engine that powers it. That engine is your body. Your physical condition is the soil in which your faculties grow. If that soil is poor, if your vitality is low, if you drain your energy through harmful or careless habits, your abilities will not thrive. Some time ago, an ambitious young man asked me how to increase his ability and achieve more. He was pale and thin, with signs of unhealthy living on his face. He clearly wanted success but had taken the wrong path. After a few questions, I discovered that, although he was not reckless in the usual sense, his habits were damaging. He stayed up until 1 or 2 in the morning studying, worked hard all day, and relied on excessive coffee and tea. He also drank whiskey and even used drugs to stimulate himself. He did not realize that such artificial stimulation was like whipping a tired horse. It was only a matter of time before he would collapse physically and mentally. It is surprising how little even intelligent people understand about building health. Young people often ask how to increase their ability, and in most cases they are doing something that defeats their own purpose. The surest way to increase your ability and strengthen your faculties is to build a strong foundation of health and protect it as your most valuable possession, because it truly is. Strong, vibrant health strengthens and multiplies all your faculties, and together they form your ability, the force that achieves and creates. It makes a tremendous difference what kind of person you bring to your prospect. I say you bring because you are the master behind the salesman. There is something greater behind the salesman than the salesman himself. You are his manager, trainer, and educator. The person you bring to your prospect will reflect the person you develop. To be whole, mentally, physically, spiritually, is your responsibility. To lack in any area is to be incomplete. To be 100% a man, that is your challenge. The human body is complex, and even a small issue can harm its efficiency. An ill-fitting shoe may reduce your effectiveness by 25%. A speck of dust in the eye could disable a Napoleon, just as a grain of grit can damage a fine watch. A rushed, unhealthy meal may weaken digestion, reduce brain power, and make you ineffective at a crucial moment. Efficiency depends on the smooth functioning of all your organs. If you have mistreated them and they are protesting, they will work against you. You may believe you can succeed through sheer willpower, but willpower depends on the coordinated action of your body. If your digestion, liver, heart, kidneys, or brain are out of order, you will not succeed no matter how hard you try. Many excellent salesmen have failed by neglecting the very organs that support their success. Every sale you make involves your entire life investment, your intelligence, education, training, experience, skill, creativity, personality. The result depends largely on how fully and enthusiastically you commit yourself. But you cannot give your best if your body is not in harmony. Poor health reduces your available power. When approaching a prospect, be fully present. Do not leave part of yourself drained by late nights, unhealthy habits, or poor food. A good digestion is one of your brain's best allies. If digestion suffers, no stimulant can make up for the loss. Many promising salesmen have failed because they turned night into day and brought only half of themselves to work. Others have lost sales through overeating or indigestion. Countless people work hard but achieve little because they neglect their health. Their vitality is low, their blood lacks strength, and as a result, their brain and faculties weaken. Achievement follows vitality, and vitality depends on how you care for your body. Food, rest, exercise, recreation, sleep, even the finest brain cannot function well if fed by poor blood. Everywhere we see intelligent young people limited by poor health, unable to realize their ambitions. Much of their potential is lost because of preventable physical weakness. How often we hear, he would have accomplished great things if not for poor health. Mentally capable but physically weak could be the epitaph of many failures. A weakness anywhere can damage your career. Every unhealthy habit drains your potential for success. There is no compensation for lost health. Health strengthens every ability, and there is no excuse for losing it through neglect or ignorance. Nature is not sentimental. If you break her laws, you pay the price. She demands that you be at your best. Whatever your work, the secret of success lies in your health, your brain, nerves, muscles, ambition, and determination. You cannot produce first-class work with a tired or poisoned brain. Many capable salesmen remain average simply because they work with exhausted minds. You cannot do masterful work without proper sleep, exercise, and fresh air. If you want to make the most of yourself, you must take care of yourself. Damaged health means damaged ability. Destroy your health and you destroy your chances. Guard your physical strength. Your digestion influences your brain. Poor digestion leads to poor blood, and poor blood leads to poor thinking. Health plays a larger role in success than most people realize. A salesman once told me he felt he was losing his edge. He no longer approached customers confidently. When a man feels this way, he is not fit for business. It is time to stop and examine the problem. Pay attention to nature's warning signs: fatigue, headaches, indigestion, lack of enthusiasm, poor appetite. These are signals to slow down. Instead, many people push harder with stimulants and eventually damage themselves. No one can afford to ignore these warnings, especially a salesman whose work depends entirely on personal condition. Others may delegate tasks. He cannot. He is a one-person enterprise. Good health makes optimism and enthusiasm natural. Poor health makes kindness and cheerfulness difficult. Many personality flaws are actually symptoms of physical weakness. Health influences manners, judgment, courage, willpower, and decision-making. Obstacles seem small when you are strong and overwhelming when you are weak. Mood often reflects physical condition. Even humor depends partly on vitality. Ill health dulls enjoyment. Poor health weakens decisiveness. A strong man decides firmly. A weak one hesitates. All standards fall as vitality declines. Healthy thinking requires healthy brain cells. When vitality drops, thought quality declines. A vacation often restores clarity, energy, and creativity because it restores health. Pure blood and renewed strength produce sharper thinking. Many salesmen could increase their effectiveness by 25 or 50% simply by relieving strain and rebuilding health. If someone discovered a formula for doubling ability, everyone would want it. Yet we already know the formula: sensible living, balanced diet, exercise, fresh air, sleep, regular habits, and positive thinking. Nothing will reward a salesman more than daily attention to physical condition. Good health enhances personality and magnetism. It brings brightness to the eye and strength to the step. Care for yourself as carefully as a well-groomed horse is cared for, pride in condition shows. It is useless to have talent if it is neglected. Yet many salesmen fail to maintain themselves properly. Ola Bull would not perform unless his violin was perfectly tuned. If a string slipped, he stopped until it was corrected. He would not perform at less than his best. Likewise, you cannot approach a prospect as a master salesman if your instrument, your body and mind, is out of tune. Tune yourself daily. If there is imbalance in your system, you will produce discord instead of harmony. When you meet a prospect, be fully present, 100% ready. Complete harmony of body and mind matters more than training alone. In this competitive age, physical vigor is critical. Winners usually possess strong vitality and endurance. Keep yourself fit so you can perform your best work with ease and confidence. Stay at the top of your condition and you will approach prospects with assurance and strength. Maintain your human machine in perfect condition, and you will radiate power and confidence. You will be the kind of salesman customers are glad to see, a master salesman. Appendix: Sales pointers. There are two main types of people you will approach. One type is guided mainly by reason, the other by impulses, emotion, prejudices, enthusiasm, likes, and dislikes. The first type can be convinced only by solid, practical, logical arguments, the kind of proof that would stand up in court. Their minds are clear, analytical engines. They are impressed only by facts and figures and will not do business with salesmen who offer anything else. The other type, impulsive or emotional people, respond to persuasive appeal that speaks to feeling. You will not find it necessary to convince their logic completely. Give them your best evidence, but combine it with something more. Be careful with their prejudices. Watch for signs of their likes and dislikes. Discover what excites their enthusiasm. Adapt yourself to their moods. Sooner or later, if you understand your business, you will find the sensitive point in an emotional person, and then you have him. Appeal to him in the right way, and you will walk out with his order. Study your prospects. Learn to read human nature. The formulas for successful selling are written in its pages. Do not be controlled by precedent. It blocks progress. Know the technique of salesmanship, but do not become its servant. Study successful people and ask yourself, why can't I do what they have done? Decide not to remain average. No matter how much you know about selling, your personality and character will be the main factors in your success. Technique matters, but it is the person behind the technique who makes the sale. 3 kinds of salesmen: the heavyweight, the lightweight, and just plain weight, selected. Some salesmen are not always successful, but successful salesmen are always active salesmen. A master salesman is self-made, but a self-made salesman is not always a master. Always remember the person at the other end of the deal. If he does not get a good bargain, you will eventually lose, no matter how much you sell him. Follow your prospect's train of thought. Let him do much of the talking. If he feels you are pushing him to change his mind, he will resist. To be a man whose word carries weight at my home office, to be supportive, not critical, proactive, not negative, a driving force, not an obstacle, to believe in my product wholeheartedly, to carry optimism into the presence of potential customers, to replace bad temper with cheerfulness, doubts with strong conviction, and friction with a pleasant personality, to study my business thoroughly, to know my profession from the ground up, to combine intelligence with effort and use method and system in my work, to find time for everything necessary by never letting time find me idle, to value my days as a miser values money, to make every hour bring returns in commissions, knowledge, or healthy recreation, to keep my future free from debt, to save as well as earn, to avoid costly amusements until I can afford them, to avoid harmful habits and protect my health and peace of mind as my most valuable assets. Finally, to enjoy life, to play the game fairly, to fight nothing so hard as my own weaknesses, and to grow as a salesman and as a man each day. This is my creed. Salesmanship is the ability to sell the greatest possible quantity of goods, to increase sales steadily, to get the most value from advertising, to turn new buyers into regular customers, and to keep the loyalty of regular customers. Never sit or stand below your prospect if you can avoid it. The higher position often carries advantage. Many salesmen perform better standing while the prospect sits. Approach your prospect as a professional, not as an amateur or second-rate salesman. Your manner strongly influences the impression you make. Establish trust quickly. Business people deal constantly with dishonest and manipulative individuals. When they meet someone genuine, they respond with confidence. Often your entire success depends on the first few minutes of the interview. Here, your understanding of human nature is critical. Assess your prospect quickly, his temperament, health, and mood. Be tactful. Some say tact cannot be learned, but every person shows tact when trying to impress someone they truly care about. If you care deeply about your work and are determined to succeed, you will develop tact. Never say or do anything before a prospect that lowers your self-respect. If you do, you lose power. You are not paid to be less than a professional. A true salesman sells goods. A fraud sells customers. Do not be a mere order taker, be a salesman. Another salesman's creed. I believe in the goods I handle, in the company I work for, and in my ability to produce results. I believe honest products can be sold to honest people through honest methods. I believe in working, not complaining, in promoting, not criticizing, and in taking pride in my job. I believe a person gets what he works for, that one action today is worth 2 tomorrow, and that no one is finished until he loses faith in himself. I believe in today and the work I am doing, in tomorrow and the work I hope to do, and in the reward the future holds. I believe in courtesy, kindness, generosity, good cheer, friendship, and fair competition. I believe there is opportunity somewhere for every person ready to seize it. I believe I am ready now. Do you ever approach a prospect expecting rejection? If so, that is often what you receive. Half knowledge is worse than ignorance. Macaulay. One business motto reads, "Nothing pays like quality." Quality is its own advertisement. Promote quality. A high-level salesman elevates his prospect from lower-grade goods to higher-grade goods because both seller and buyer benefit more from superior quality. When you work for someone else, you are selling yourself, your ability, education, personality, influence. Every sale includes part of your character and reputation. Progress depends more on what we are than on what we face. Trumbull. Success does not go to the idle or indifferent, but to the determined and enthusiastic. True salesmanship means selling goods that do not come back to people who do. Satisfy customers so fully that they return. Leave a pleasant impression. This skill can be learned by anyone willing to be kind and helpful. Winning back an offended customer requires tact and diplomacy, so subtle it is hardly visible. It is better not to offend in the first place. When Andrew Carnegie's superintendent reported breaking production records, Carnegie replied, "Why not do it every day? Why not break your sales record daily? You may not know your limits until you test them." The salesman who tries to sell without thinking has wasted valuable brain space. Appear confident and capable, walk, talk, and act like someone important. Let confidence show in your face and manner. Dishonesty always returns to harm the one who practices it. Make your prospect feel you are more than a seller, that you are genuinely trying to serve him. Friendship matters whether or not you secure the order. Selling sense is to a salesman what instinct for news is to a journalist. It includes tact, kindness, good judgment, initiative, and courage. Superior quality creates repeat sales because it creates satisfaction. Endurance is the final measure of ability. A person's true strength is shown by how much opposition he can withstand. What does he do after failure? That is the test. Study the top performers in your company. Learn from their strengths, but avoid copying blindly. Be yourself. Thomas Brackett Reed said half the battle in Congress is catching the speaker's eye. Catch your prospect's eye. Eye contact commands attention. A wild animal trainer who shows fear loses control. Animals sense it instantly. Prospects sense fear as well. Suggestion is central to selling. Enter a prospect's office suggesting goodwill and harmony. Remove hostility. Your personality is suggestion. A salesman must advertise himself. Just keep on keeping on. If the day looks gloomy and your chances seem slim, if the situation is puzzling and prospects look grim, when pressure builds and hope feels nearly gone, brace yourself, grit your teeth, and keep on keeping on. Anger never wins a fight, and worry never pays. There is no use in brooding and pessimistic ways. Smile cheerfully when hope feels nearly gone. Brace yourself, grit your teeth, and keep on keeping on. Complaining brings no gain when life still holds its rhyme. Keep smiling cheerfully when hope feels nearly gone. Brace yourself, grit your teeth, and keep on keeping on. Advice once printed for employees. Make no promises you cannot keep. Fulfill every promise you make, whatever the cost. He who rests on his laurels will soon find laurels resting on him. A sour clerk can turn away the sweetest customer. A real salesman is 1 part talk and 9 parts judgment, and uses the 9 parts to decide when to use the 1. When you say good morning, let it be sincere. Genuine sincerity comes from genuine goodwill. Never explain your business on the doorstep. Expect to be admitted, and you usually will be. A salesman must be confident. Remember, you are capable, your goods are sound, your company is reliable. There is no reason for fear. Keep samples out of sight when possible. Curiosity increases attention. Avoid careless habits. Cigars, toothpicks, newspapers in hand. They suggest distraction and lack of focus. Think ahead. Prepare for objections. Cultivate patience, calmness, and speed. Seize the psychological moment. Speak or close at the right time. Selling is mind meeting mind. Avoid technical language unless you are sure your customer understands it. Speak clearly and simply. Many salesmen fail by dividing attention with side ventures. Concentration builds greatness. Learn from successful producers but remain original. Maintain eye contact to preserve attention and influence. I want my sales talk to serve others, worth their time whether they buy or not. To speak only truth. To be clear and human. To show how I and my goods can truly help. To use humor only when wise. To respect every person's time. To persuade myself before persuading others. To make my goods stand out more than myself. To demonstrate such value that customers desire them. This is my ideal. Why this salesman failed. He was too anxious. He could not understand people. He lacked a proper approach. There was no real strength behind him. He talked without focus. He knew facts but could not present them engagingly. He bored prospects. He approached sales timidly instead of confidently. He handled rejection poorly. He criticized competitors. He lacked belief in success. He relied too much on letters instead of personal contact. He sold inferior goods and bragged about it. He did not truly believe in his product. He was easily discouraged. He divided attention among too many lines. He lacked strong responses to objections. He created poor first impressions. He appeared desperate instead of professional. He ignored the customer's interests. He exaggerated claims. He was polite only when expecting an order. He lacked adaptability. He undervalued his profession. He disliked the business. He avoided people. He lacked organization. He mixed politics with business. He forgot that every sale builds or damages reputation. He was gloomy. He was not accommodating. Why this salesman succeeded. He believed completely in his product. He was tactful and skilled in approach. He respected the customer's time. He focused on his line. He was reliable and represented quality. He approached each sale expecting success. He worked diligently. He looked after the customer's interests. He stopped once he had convinced the prospect and avoided creating doubt. Thank you for watching until the end. If you want to go deep down into the rabbit hole of marketing and persuasion, click the link in the description where you will find many fundamental books about copywriting, psychology, and persuasion. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. See you in the next one.